Alright then, let's just have a little bit of fun with conspiracy theories and look at one or two that have turned out to be true, as well as looking at a couple that are false. And so here we go. The very first one I want to talk about is simply this. Did the CIA originate the term conspiracy theory? Were they the first to use it extensively in public discourse? And so now I'll tell you now that the answer to that is no, it is not true. That claim is false. An awful lot of people who tend to believe conspiracy theories, I found, have tended to believe that the CIA originated the term, in order to manipulate people into believing that anyone who reveals truthful information is a conspiracy theorist, and therefore talking a load of rubbish. Now that part has some merit. However, they did not originate the term. The term was popular from the 17th century to the 1950s, then co-opted by the CIA as a means to discredit those who question official narratives regarding the 1964 Warren Commission report into the assassination of JFK. The CIA coined the term in 1967 to disqualify those who questioned the official narrative, or the official version of events, doubting that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. The effect is to silence victims of conspiracy or their advocates, and manages public consensus to suit the interests of the powerful, and it's been used in that way ever since. Okay, so coming up next, shall we say, is the world secretly ruled by reptilians from Alpha Draconis? So I can't help laughing about this one, and obviously I'm going to say this is false. There's lots of people, online that will tell you this is true. The world is secretly ruled by reptilian aliens from Alpha Draconis. Although I am a spiritual person, I'm not someone who really wants to. Who really wants to promote the idea that there are, secret aliens behind the elite powerful in the world and things like that. I certainly can't prove it, so from my perspective here, I'm saying this is false. However, I have written previously about the New Age movement, and I do have an article on my website called The Infiltration of New Age. And again, I will link to that on my website. So if you go there to have a look at the video version of the podcast, you'll be able to see the link there, and you'll be able to have a look at that article. Essentially, though, I did learn a bit of what I said. I did learn there's so much information out there by so many different sources that it's impossible to make heads or tails of it. Never mind who to listen to, what to read, or who to believe. And I do mention one book that I read, which was the first book I read actually about New Age, or about New Age topics and channelings. That was a book called Only Planet of Choice by one Phyllis V. Schlemmer, a deep trance medium, and Paladin Jenkins. The book featured a former US Army doctor and CIA researcher called Andrea Puharit. And so for me, the very first book I read, that came from New Age, is very problematic, where the Deep Trance channel, part of the support network for that channel, was a former CIA researcher. I'll say no more about it. I'll let you read the article if you want to, and once again, check into that if you want to. But this is one of the main reasons why I consider most of the information that comes out of New Age problematic. I do believe that it has been severely infiltrated and manipulated by dark projects, and really we have to step away from that. And if we want to be spiritual beings, which I am, I believe firmly that we should look to more historical information that dates, before more recent times, and really just avoid, like the plague, if you like, the New Age. And that's just my perspective. Take it for what it is, and I'm going to move on from that. But is the world secretly ruled by reptilians? I think not. Did the CIA invent a heart attack gun? That's my next question for you. So pause if you like, and then play again, and we're going to move on to the answer now. And then the answer is yes, the CIA did develop a heart attack gun, and that may surprise some of you, especially if you happen to be really skeptical about conspiracy theories. And it almost doesn't sound, you know, like we necessarily would have the technology to do that at this time. But, you know, on the other hand, maybe considering everything that we've managed to achieve over the last 10, 20 years, especially in the advent of much of the technology we have now, we would think actually nowadays it would be very easy to invent a heart attack gun. But wait a minute, this happened way back in 1975. This didn't happen last year or last decade. This happened in 1970. In 1975, the CIA revealed a secret weapon that could cause fatal heart attacks. It worked by shooting a small poison dart that could penetrate clothing and left behind nothing but a tiny red dot on the skin. The dart disintegrated on impact, and the target would only feel a small prick, similar to a bug bite. Since the poison denatured quickly, it could not be detected in an autopsy. Therefore, the CIA could carry out assassinations that wouldn't be traced back to them. Many believe the CIA still use this weapon today. And this, the story where I found this story, the source is military.com, and again I'll link to this in my website. You'll be able to check it for yourself. I'll just read slightly a paragraph from it, a sentence from it, sorry. The astonishing information about this secret weapon of the CIA comes from US Senate testimony in 1975 on rogue activities of the CIA. This weapon is only one of many James Bond-like discoveries of the Church Committee hearings, officially known as the United States Senate Select Committee to Study Governmental Operations with Respect to Intelligence Activities. And so this is quite official, and this comes from a US Senate testimony in 1975. Now, did Bill Gates contribute more money to the World Health Organization than any country? Now, the answer to that is false, but there is a but. And here's the thing, there's a but. Now, other than the USA and the UK, the largest voluntary contributions come from Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Interestingly, the origin of Gavi is the Gates Foundation, which pledged US $750 million to set up Gavi in 1999. Further, the Gates Foundation is a key Gavi partner in vaccine market shaping. Gavi and the Gates Foundation together made more involuntary contributions to the World Health Organization than the total contributions of any country, including the USA. Other significant voluntary contributions include the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, Rotary International, and the World Bank. And this comes from information on this, and much more information comes from my two-part article, which dates back to October 2020. So the World Health Organization page has deleted the PDF that I linked to on my post. However, I did clip the chart that was on that PDF, and that survives on my website, and you can see it for yourself. It's basically the top 10 contributors for 2019, combining assessed and voluntary contributions in US millions of dollars. And if you look at a chart, it's very clear to see that although the United States of America is the largest single contributor, when you look at Gavi and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation together, when you add those two together, it does come to more than the US does. So now what we have here is an interesting situation where the United States of America is the largest single contributor in 2019. The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland is the second largest contributor, and then the third and fourth are both Gavi and the Gates Foundation. and that's where the vast majority of the money goes, to the World Health Organization. So if you wonder who is running the World Health Organization, at least from a financial perspective, now you know. Is the UK also a baddie when it comes to diminishing or eliminating your basic privacies? You know, is the UK literally spying on all of our internet activity, whether we know it or not, whether we like it or not? Is the United Kingdom legally or illegally, or a combination of both, or circumventing the law one way or another in order to allow them to literally spy on all of our internet activity all of the time? True or false? GCHQ Tempora. That is literally the what you could call the closest alternative in the United Kingdom to what PRISM was or is in the United States. So tempora is the code word for a formerly, according to Wikipedia, formerly secret. There we go, not formally, but formerly secret. So maybe they're still doing it then, are they? Are they actually admitting that they're still doing it? Formerly secret computer system that is used by the British Government Communications Headquarters. This system is used to buffer most internet communications that are extracted from fibre optic cables, so these can be processed and searched at a later time. It was tested from 2008 and became operational in late 2011. It is alleged that GCHQ produces larger amounts of metadata than the NSA, the National Security Agency in the US. By May 2012, 300 GCHQ analysts and 250 NSA analysts had been assigned to sort data. So obviously an operation in the UK called Tempora, but one which obviously involved very close cooperation between GCHQ and the NSA. The Guardian claims that no distinction is made in the gathering of data between public citizens and targeted suspects. Tempora is said to include recordings of telephone calls, the content of email messages, Facebook entries, and the personal internet history of users. Snowden said of Tempora that it's not just a US problem. The UK has a huge dog in this fight. They, as in GCHQ, are worse than the US, according to Edward Snowden. I'll let you make what you like of that. GCHQ Tempora is definitely a thing, according to Wikipedia, and of course, because Wikipedia said it must be true. So how does that make you feel about all your internet searches over the last 10-15 years? Is the Earth a flat plane held up by 4 elephants standing on a giant turtle? So I thought I would kind of finish off with this one. It's obvious, isn't it? Because I mean, according to the Flat Earth Society, they apparently have got followers now all over the globe. So that being the case, it's obviously becoming a more and more popular movement. More and more people are believing that the Earth is in fact flat. You know. But I mean the story of the 4 elephants standing on a giant turtle is one that's often used in scientific academia to make fun of people who believe conspiracies generally, not just people who believe that the Earth is flat. You know, I mean, what do you think? The Earth is a flat plane held up by 4 elephants standing on a giant turtle. So what is the giant turtle standing on is the question. Well, of course, the giant turtle must be standing on, I don't know, a bigger giant turtle. Yes, which is standing on another bigger giant turtle, and so on. It goes on to infinity. So the universe is just made up of endless numbers of giant turtles. Who knows? That's the thing, right? So it's a great way to make fun of conspiracy theories generally. By having the craziest ones out there. And conspiracies are absolutely just a whole load of rubbish. None of them are true, are they? None of them are true. Except the CIA did recoin the term in the 1960s, accept Bohemian Grove is a genuine conspiracy that actually happened, accept the heart attack gun is a genuine thing that actually happened, accept Operation Popeye is a genuine thing that actually happened, accept Mockingbird is a genuine thing that actually happened, accept Prism and Tempora is a genuine thing that actually happened. How many of them have to actually happen and become proved to have happened before people stop just laughing randomly at everything that the media tell you is a conspiracy theory? As long as there's a bunch of people out there willing to say that the elites are ruled by reptilians, and as long as there's a bunch of people out there willing to say that the earth is flat, that is going to keep muddying the waters, and that is going to keep painting a target on everybody else's back. So a great idea is to stop with the letting them kid you with the stupid ones. Just go out and find out which ones are actually true and call the false ones false. I hope you've really enjoyed this episode. If you did, please share far and wide so others can benefit too, and download the podcast audio so you can listen again whenever you like, wherever you like. You can also view and comment on podcast episodes by visiting johnsoracle.com. Thanks for listening to the podcast of Laird John. I've been your host, John McVey.